Now to the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Yesterday, Israeli Defense Forces posted this on social media, announcing they've eliminated the head of the terrorist organization. Israeli troops found Sinwar by chance in southern Gaza on Wednesday, ending a year-long search for the man believed to be the architect of the October 7th attack. Officials say troops were patrolling an area of Rafah when they noticed 3 terrorists fleeing. The two sides then engaged in gunfire, and all 3 militants were killed. It was only then that Israeli forces suspected one of those terrorists might be Yahya Sinwar. The IDF later ran DNA tests to confirm his identity. Joining us now, State Department spokesman Matt Miller. Matt, thanks for coming on the show. Talk about the significance of this latest development, but now the implications in front of us, the hostages, also potential retaliation. What is the United States and Israel preparing for?
Well, good morning, Mika. And first of all, thanks for having me. The death of Yahya Sinwar is a hugely significant moment for the region, for the world. This is someone who is a brutal, vicious terrorist who had the blood of Americans on his hands, who had the blood of Israelis, who had the blood of more than 30 the citizens of 30 countries around the world on his hands. It was his decision to unleash this war on October 7th that has now cost the lives of over 40,000 Palestinians. And in the past few months, he has been the chief obstacle to ending that war and alleviating the suffering of those Palestinians, to getting the hostages home, to providing real security for Israel and for the Palestinian people alike. If you go back to the ceasefire proposal that President Biden laid out at the end of May, obviously you saw after that a series of negotiations. You saw the United Nations Security Council endorse it. And what happened over the past few weeks, a little over a month, is that Hamas, under Sinwar's leadership, just walked away from the bargaining table and refused to negotiate at all. And so we see this now as an opportunity, with him being eliminated, with him being gone, as the chance to push forward to try to get an agreement to end this war, to try to get an agreement to finally get those 101 hostages who still remain in Gaza home to their families, and to try to finally push for real, lasting security for the Israeli and Palestinian people alike. And that's what we're going to be pushing for with urgency in the days ahead.
Matt, I understand that you see this as an opportunity, and perhaps even for some sort of longer-term negotiations over who might be in charge of security of Gaza. But just in the short term, in the next kind of few days, is there also some concern at the State Department that this might be a moment of peril, particularly for the hostages, if Sinwar is dead? Now Sinwar is dead, and we don't really know who is running things in Hamas and who negotiations would take place with to have some kind of hostage exchange.
Look, we are always concerned about danger presented to the hostages. We've been incredibly concerned about that since October 7th. If you look back at what happened then, Hamas, under Sinwar's leadership, took more than 250 hostages, little boys and girls, children, the elderly. There are 101 who are remaining, including 7 Americans who still remain in hostage and still remain held hostage in Gaza. And we are always worried about their safety and security, which is why we're working to try and end the war and bring them home. What we're going to be doing in the next few days. So after Sinwar's death was announced yesterday, the Secretary Blinken got on the phone immediately with the Prime Minister of Qatar, who has been one of the chief intermediaries in negotiating an end to this war, negotiating a ceasefire agreement. He got on the phone with the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia. And in the coming days, as President Biden announced yesterday, he'll be returning to the region to try to push forward for an agreement to end this war and get those hostages home. Ultimately, we believe the best way to secure those hostages is for an agreement to end the war that brings them home safely to their families, their loved ones.
Matt, good morning. We heard from both President Biden and Vice President Harris in the aftermath of Sinwar's death, both making it very clear that now is the time for this war to end. Now is the time for a ceasefire deal. Now is the time to bring those hostages home. However, Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel last night did not suggest that the conflict would end anytime soon and said, in fact, it would continue. How confident are you right now, the State Department of the United States, that Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to make this deal?
Look, that's a conversation we're going to have with him directly. The president spoke to him yesterday. As I said, Secretary Blinken will be returning to the region next week, and this will be a conversation that we expect to have directly with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Israel achieved an incredibly important strategic objective yesterday. The elimination of Yahya Sinwar was an important objective. Number one, to bring him to justice for the blood that he had on his hands, not just on October 7th, but in the months after and in the years leading up to October 7th. They have other strategic objectives they need still to accomplish, and one of them is returning all the hostages. And then ultimately, the most important objective for Israel should be lasting security for the people of Israel. And it is our belief that an endless conflict in Gaza, which is what you will have if you don't have an agreement for a political path forward for the Palestinian people, if you don't have an agreement for real security inside Gaza and reconstruction in Gaza and a plan to allow the people of Gaza to rebuild their lives, you're never going to have lasting security for the people of Israel as well. So the conversation that we expect to have with them in the coming days is the best way to move that forward. As you know, and I think you allude to it in your question, we had some tough decisions that we were putting to Prime Minister Netanyahu over the course of these ceasefire negotiations. And he was going to have to make some tough decisions to find an end to this war, to bring the hostages home. That process kind of got short-circuited when Sinwar walked away from the bargaining table. We now see this as an opportunity in the days ahead to try to get back to an agreement, to get back to a way to end the war. And we're going to be talking with Prime Minister Netanyahu about the best way to do that.
All right, State Department spokesman Matt Miller, thank you very much for updating us. We appreciate it.